Ladies and gentlemen, and ladies, how you doing? Welcome to the 103rd episode of Collecting Profit. Have a special guest tonight. We have Sean from the Card Boss Grading, and we're going to talk about some stuff. But we got some people here. We got Maddie. Thank you, sir. We got Lockin. We got Dami. How you doing, fellas? How's everything going? Sean, how are you? Give us a little rundown about you, the company, and we'll get into this and start talking.
Yeah, no, I'm good. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. I actually started Card Boss a couple of years ago, and have just been, kind of working through the process of a standard startup company. We created an app a little over a year ago, just to ease the process for people that are submitting cards to be pre-graded. Card Boss is it's a pre-grading app that you can put on your phone or an iPad, and you just take real simple pictures of the front and the back on a black background. We have a little grade board that we'll send you once you get signed up that gives you good instructions to make sure that we get a good clean picture. Then you submit it in the app, and in the next call it 15 minutes, you'll get a grade back. So that's what we're doing, and just growing the business, kind of slowly but surely.
Very nice, very nice. Big John, how you doing? Dami, I am in Huntsville, Alabama, sir. That's cool. So you obviously were in the hobby, in some way, shape, or form before you started Card Boss?
Yeah, so kind of the backstory on Card Boss is I was really into collecting, for years and years and years, and then had two young boys and kind of got away from it some, and then similar to a lot of people that are in the hobby now. So COVID hit, and it was just one of those deals where we were stuck at home and couldn't really do much other than hang out at the house or ride bikes around the neighborhood. So then at the time my boys were 10 and 7. So, we started getting into dad's, collection. Yep. And looking at cards, and then they got into it. And then I kind of, got the passion back and started collecting again and getting into breaks and things like that. And I had a kind of where Card Boss started was I had a 1983 Topps Tony Gwynn rookie card that from what I could tell was in perfect shape. Yeah. So I went to Amazon and bought one of those. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It was like $12.99. It's called like a grading tool or something like that. And it's essentially like a pair of jeweler loops. Yeah. And a measuring tool. So you could sit there and try to measure. So I bought that and, looked at it with the jeweler loops and the measuring tool, and everything looked perfect to me. So I sent it into PSA. And I didn't have a membership to PSA at the time. And the turnaround, I wanted to get it back a little sooner than I think what was standard at the time. So I paid like $75 with taxes and fees and shipping and all that stuff to get the one card graded. So in between the time that I shipped the card to PSA to get graded, we were still, I was still doing stuff, buying cards and looking at them and trying to get, think about which cards are going to get graded. I stumbled across actually just a website at the time, which was Card Boss. So I was like, okay, that's interesting. So I got the card. So I'd been kind of playing around with Card Boss. So I got the Tony Gwynn card, comes back like 3 months later. And it got an 8. So at the time, an 8 was worth about $100, which would have been about exactly what the card would have been worth raw. But yes. I was hoping to get a 10. I thought it was going to get a 10. Because a 10 would have been worth, $1,000 or more at the time. So it got an 8, so that doesn't do me any good. So I actually just cracked the slab open and graded it with Card Boss, and Card Boss gave it an 8. So I was like, okay, that's just just random, and we got lucky there. So I actually took 11 cards of my own, pre-graded them with Card Boss, sent them into PSA, paid the extra money to get them quickly turned around because I wanted to get kind of a feedback on Card Boss, how accurate it was. And 10 of the 11 cards that I submitted got the same grade from Card Boss as PSA gave them. So kind of one of those just, meant to be luck things. At the time, Card Boss had no app. You had to actually take pictures and like submit it on your laptop and like drag the pictures in. It was just all done on the website.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
so, you know, no logo really, no company, no branding, no nothing around it. It just was, I randomly found Card Boss like in the comment section of some article. So anyway, so now I'm like, okay, so Card Boss went 1 for 1 on that Tony Gwynn and then 10 for 11 on the next cards I submitted. And I went to the contact us on the Card Boss website just to reach out because I was starting to think to myself, like, hey, I want to start putting together a team to come up with some type of an app to pre-grade these cards because, you know, I'm sure people are having the same issues that I'm having.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
and you know, they want to minimize their disappointment, if you will, when they submit their cards. So I contacted Card Boss, and at the time, Card Boss was owned by a lady that had written the code, and that's her background, you know, imaging and writing code and all that stuff. So that was her background. So when I reached out to her, just as luck would have it, she lives like 20 minutes from my house.
Oh,
So,
wow.
so just dumb luck. So
Right.
at that point, I was like, look, we can't not meet. You know,
Right.
I really want to meet you. So I ended up meeting with her. Ran obviously a bunch of cards, did all the diligence on Card Boss, just as far as like the tech and the, you know, the code and things like that. And time was right for her to sell, and then the time was right for me to buy it. So I bought, the technology, the company, the patents, or at the time it was patent pending. So I bought all the IP, I bought everything. And then, so I had like this accurate grader that I just needed to, you know, I'm still in this, you know, earlier stages, but
Right.
just kind of grow this company around. So we spent, you know, since I bought the company, just, you know, trying to speed up the grader. We've built the app, which is a pretty heavy lift to getting that done. It's, you know, obviously takes time and money to do that. So that's kind of how Card Boss, that's what brought us to today.
Wow. That's awesome. I mean, yeah, you talk about, you know, her happen to just be that close to you. It's kind of, you know, kind of hard to not go ahead
Yeah.
and meet at that point.
Yeah.
Um, that's really cool. Kenny, welcome. John, welcome. Chuck, welcome. So you found Card Boss. Was it always meant to be a pre-grader type of thing, or is that kind of, you know, do you envision more? Do you envision it more of, you know, do you envision where you can take that card, see what it's going to get, and then get it in and get it slabbed and, you know, continue with the rest?
Yeah. So initially Card Boss was the lady that wrote the code and, you know, held the patent at the time, or the patent when it was pending. She actually put it all together so her son could grade his Pokemon cards.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
yeah, so we've enhanced it since then. But yeah, so right now, what Card Boss is a pre-grader. You take pictures of the front of the card, back of the card on a flat black background, or this grade board that I showed you earlier that we send when somebody signs up. It's free. So for now, that's where we're at. The goal, and I think we're actually in conversations with a company that does the traditional grade and slab process, to partner with them. So you could pre-grade with Card Boss, and if you get the grade you want, you'd be able to shoot it right over to them, and have them slab that card. So it's think of just a traditional pre-grader that you would have rather than packaging it up and sending it into, mailing it away to whomever that would be, and then communicating with them to figure out where to send it. This would just be, you could do it all from your phone. And we have a couple of pre-graders that just individuals that they use Card Boss as the way that they pre-grade their cards. But so, long-winded answer, but I think we have some time here is I would envision that
Hmm.
transition to a grade and slab, that being an option. But then there's other things that are on the radar as far as like being able to catalog the cards, or partnering up with a couple of other companies where, not only would you be able to, grade it, but you could say, okay, hey, if Card Boss gave it a 9 and I sent it into PSA, what's a PSA 9 worth, and have that information just available to you. But I mean, I think I have a startup background in the medical device world, not in the hobby. That said, I'm pretty committed to staying laser focused on who we are and what we're doing right now, and really making sure that we perfect what we're doing and stay focused on being a pre-grader. And once I feel like we have the business to a point where we can reasonably expand and start doing other things and adding different values to the tech, then we'll do it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the kind of like, so when I scan it, so if Dom went ahead and put the website in the chat, guys, and if you go there, right on the screen are two clickable links, one for the App Store and one for Google Play to download the app, onto your phone. When I take my cards and I scan them, where are they kept? Like, is it, hey, I see it's a 9, and then is that gone when I scan the next one, or is that saved somewhere that I could recall it if I wanted to?
Yeah, so we have what's called a grade board. So in the app, you're able to click on a little tile on the bottom that says grade board, and that'll have every card that you've graded through Card Boss. And it'll have, not only will have like a digital slab, if you will, but it'll also give you a detailed report of front and back of the edges, the surface, the corners, and the centering.
How does it work, like with the thicker cards? If I'm doing like a patch card or something along those, if the card is a little thicker, does it deal with that versus, because obviously a thicker card, there are more edges, there technically are more corners.
Yeah, it deals with them really well. Overall, we're somewhere between 84 to 88 to 89% accurate, and that's factoring in every type of card. I mean, there's patch cards that it grades those fairly well. We haven't, luckily, knock on wood, I haven't really had to make any changes for that yet. So
That's awesome.
yeah, it seems it's been good, but I mean, it's certainly something that's we're aware of, and I pay attention to. But it's been consistent so far, and it's been a year. We probably grade, I don't know, 40 cards a day, maybe 50 cards a day. I mean, the weekends get busier, certain times a day. Holidays will be slammed. But yeah, so I mean, it's there's an N of 50,000 cards probably.
Nice. So you have a patent on some of the the technology and stuff. Now, there are some grading companies out there who claim they use AI to grade cards. How is something like that able to happen when you have a patent for it?
Yeah, so our patent is specific to how we're actually going about doing it.
I got you.
So we have an algorithm that's used. So it's not as if you get a card that is, let's say the front and the back have the same numbers as far as 1 to 10. This graded scale is the exact same as a PSA or an SGC or Beckett, something like that. But if you had a card that was, received 2 10s out of was centering, corners, surface, and edges.
Right.
If it received 2 10s on the front and 2 8s on the front and 2 10s on the back and 2 8s on the back, that doesn't necessarily mean that card's going to come out a 9. So we have, it's not like straight line math. So we have an algorithm that's built in, that we've tested over and over and over, that, it's going to give us a better opportunity to provide a more accurate grade to somebody that's grading the card.
That's really good. That's really good. And as Dom has said, the The app is rated 4+, so he can use it.
Excellent. Yeah, obviously, I pay attention to those reviews. It's we typically get really good reviews, but there's a couple on there that were kind of user issues, if you will, that we remedied.
23.
And I asked them, that, hey, can you update your customer review, please?
Yeah. So I'm surprised. I was at the Nationals. Well, in 2023 we went. My son and I, we went in 2024. I don't know how I missed you, but then again, the National is one of those things where unless you make it a point to say, I'm going to make sure I go down every aisle and look at every single booth, it's very easy for you to miss a large portion of it when you're there.
Yeah.
From that standpoint. So, but one of the things I was looking at, you said mentioned that.
I was going to bring that up. I'm glad you did. So I've been to the National the last 2 years in a row, and you learn through experience and just stuff that happens. The National's been good. It's been productive the last couple of years, but I think what we're going to do is focus more of our energies and capital towards not super small shows, but smaller shows where we're able to have more authentic, just candid conversations and meetings and interactions, because I feel like at the National, it's so chaotic and there's just people everywhere. And it's, you be talking to somebody and then, they get bumped into and then something else happens. It's, so I think we'll probably have a presence at the National, just go, but definitely going to make a concerted effort to be at some of these other shows.
Oh yeah, sure. I guess, if you went to Dallas, to your point, you can spend more time with the person because number one, that person's not worried about going to the, I don't know, thousands of tables, that are at the National, where they can sit and really, talk to you guys and get an idea of, what Card Boss is all about and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
From that standpoint. But using at the car show, that was one of the things I was looking at when I was looking, when you guys were talking about it and everything is, it's one of the things that, is an advantage of someone, has, like you said, even if they keep a, black piece of cardboard or a, paper or the board, the grade board that you have and everything, if they keep them with them, I mean, when you think about it, you go ahead and lay a card down, snap front, snap the back, and get an idea, what's the average? Obviously you probably need a, good internet connection, but if you have a good connection with your phone, what could somebody expect as the return?
Yeah, so the internet connection is key. That's one of the other issues at the National. I don't know if in Cleveland this past year, the connection, which was not great for Card Boss.
I know,
but that's fine. So, but I mean, speaking of shows, I had 300 of these. I think I brought to the National. We gave them all out, and over the course of a couple of days. And people were using it right on the spot, just trying to grade cards they were considering buying, whatever. But yeah, so turnaround time, it can be as quick as a couple of minutes. It can take as long as 20, 30 minutes. The reason that is the way it's set up now, and it's something that I have a SOW, a statement of work that's sitting on my laptop right now. I'm considering what we're going to do to put capital towards, but. So imagine the way Card Boss works is essentially like a conveyor belt. So you have one card in, the grader, the technology will just grade the card, and then it pulls the next one, it pulls the next one, and it pulls the next one. We want to be able to make it so if there's 1,000 cards submitted in the course of 1 minute, then it'll grade all of them, just boom, 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 boom. So yeah, so it's as it sits right now, to answer your question, I would say the average is probably 10 minutes. So quick.
I mean, that's still, when you're at a show and depending on the card, like your Tony Gwynn card you're talking about, if you're going to spend, $100 or, $150 or something like that, on a card and everything. I mean, that 10 minutes, that's really a good amount of time. It's good an investment of time, making sure that you're getting something that you actually want and not looking at it and going, oh, wow, this looks great to me.
Yeah.
When you don't, if you're not someone who, who has done this has been a grader before, or has, even just does it, yourself. And if you're not, into that, and if you don't understand, the grading process, of what they're actually looking for, and is that really a crisp corner, or is that a little rounded? Is this a little, what is this? What is that? So on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you're thinking about, like, to your point with that Tony Gwynn, an 8 gets you $100, a 10 gets you 1,000. That's a pretty nice delta. I mean, that's a delta that's worth 10 minutes, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, I think you explained we have multiple use cases. The card show is certainly one of them, but where I think we're used the most is with, and we touched on this a little earlier, is if you have, a bunch of cards that you want to send. I got an email. I think we might have it posted on Instagram, but got an email from a guy that he had like 10 cards he wanted to get graded. And he had an eye for cards. It sounds like it wasn't like he was an expert by any stretch, but he at least knew, what the subgrades were and what to look for. But he used Card Boss, and based on the results from Card Boss, he was going to send the 10 cards in to SGC, I think it was actually, to get graded. But he ran those 10 through Card Boss, and come to find out, only 4 of the 10 received a pre-grade that was worth it for him to spend the time and money to submit it.
Right.
And, his point was like, look, not only did you just save me $20 a card, I would have sent all 10 in, but instead I sent 4, which saved him money, saved him time on the submission. I mean, you got to pay for the shipping, you got to pay for the tax, you got to pay. I mean, it's just above and beyond what they're charging you for the card.
Yeah.
So for, I mean, when I think about for me and just other people that are really busy, it's like, hey, I want to submit these cards, but I mean, submitting 30 cards and you're not exactly sure what you're going to get. Not only would you save money with Card Boss, but you'd save the time as well to, because I mean, creating a submission and actually getting it done is time consuming.
Right.
So, if we can improve, the batting average, if you will, on what you're going to get back with accuracy of grades and save you time and save you money, that's the goal.
Yep. So Dom had a question that if you use a service, you have to send the cards to a grading company.
No. So, I mean, literally, it's an app on your phone. You take a picture of the front and the back. I would suggest anybody that, if they do end up signing up, just hit us up on the website or on social media. We just need your name and your address, and we'll ship you one of these grade boards. And, I've got a Tank Dell rated rookie here, for example. You just take a picture of it front and back, outside of any sleeve or case. And you get the grade back, and then it's up to you what you want to do with it. We don't slab it, so we're not going to actually put it in a physical slab. It's a pre-grader that tells you, digitally what you should anticipate receiving should you send it in to be, graded and slabbed.
Right. John from Firestarter Breaks, do you have to buy a subscribe in order to, basically, do you have to buy a subscription in order to use the service?
Yeah, so you do. So we came out, we have 3 different packages. So the one for folks that are, and typically we'll see people start this way, it's $10 a month. So you get to grade 5 cards for $10. It's cancel anytime. It's not like, a year or anything like that. So you just, you'd sign up if you wanted to just try it on a handful of cards. Choose from one of the 3 packages. The entry level package is 5 cards for $10. And you can use it, You can cancel it anytime, or you can upgrade it to one of the other packages to, be able to grade more cards on a monthly basis. It's really, kind of up to you.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. Land Shark Picker, Craig, how you doing, buddy? Thanks for coming in. Thanks for hanging out. Overall, you said, you're seeing the growth and everything as you see, you're getting more cards in, when you're talking about getting 1,000 cards in, and being able to spit them out, faster. Obviously, is that kind of like the next step, the next progression is to
Yeah.
speed that part up? Because the AI is the AI, right? Are there as I don't know if it matters. Does it, obviously it's any card. So whether it's a vintage card or whether it's one of the new, shiny chrome cards, it doesn't make a difference with the app, right? You still just front and back and go.
Yeah, it won't matter.
Being that you're taking a picture with it with the shinier card,
Mm-hmm.
do you have to be concerned about lighting?
Not as much as you would think. And I think the best way to answer that is, let's have the best lighting that we can. There's going to be some, reflection that's going to happen. It's just going to be natural based on, typically it comes from overhead,
Right.
like the lights that you can see behind me. Sometimes that happens, but I have a little light that I'll use that, to just remove any glare. But yeah, even if you have glare, if you look at one of our grade reports, the way that it is actually grading the cards, it removes any concern regarding the glare. Just the way that the card's actually graded, because it flipped in one of the categories, it'll flip it to a black and white image. And then there's multiple ways that it's looked at. So lighting is, let's do the best we can, would be my advice, but it does not have to be perfect.
Doesn't be perfect. That's good. That's good to know, because that's one of the things. Because I was just thinking, if you're using it in a card show, that's another thing. A lot of times higher ceilings, you don't have light as close to it. So like you said, you have different, you have different shades and stuff from that standpoint.
So you can take the picture on your phone and like just have it on your camera roll.
Mm-hmm.
You could just take a picture of the card with your phone like you normally would take a picture of anything, or you can take a picture of the card in the app. So if lighting's a concern, I would typically advise someone to just take it outside of the app so you can use your flash or whatever you need to do, and do it that way. But yeah, lighting's not been a big issue yet. I don't think it will be.
So another question from Dom: the range of products, just sports, non-sports, photos, tickets, any flat object, postcards.
Yeah, so it's the way that it functions is it's any card, any trading card. Certainly not. I've seen people submit tickets, and I've seen people submit other things as well. But the accuracy is, so kind of the way this thing works with, I guess it's tell as much as I possibly can, is it compares everything against a bunch of previously loaded, what we call training images.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all cards. So they're all football cards, basketball cards, Pokemon cards, just any type of card.
Yeah. So basically what you're doing is, as you have taken pictures of thousands and thousands of cards, the AI is smart enough to understand the difference between a rounded corner, a flat corner, or so on and so forth, based off of all the images that it has had and stuff like that and everything.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm in the car auction business, and to do what we call condition reports, we are starting to use, some AI stuff to do. And we're trying to teach the machine to know the difference between, a dent, a scratch versus a mark, and it's not a lot of the stuff. It's not it's not easy to do because like you said, a lot of times you have to go through thousands and thousands of images, for the machine to understand what it's doing.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
exactly right.
That's pretty good. That's really really good and everything. When it comes to the hobby, obviously you're in grading, so you use it to go ahead and grade cards. So obviously, I guess it would be safe to say that you believe in the grading and stuff. So that's awesome. When you said about, I guess it would be hard to do because you wouldn't be able to, you'd have to crack. Has there been any tests done per se that if you use Cardboard and it says it's going to get a 10 and you send it to PSA, get a 10? Has there been a test where someone got it, cracked it, submitted it to SGC and see if it got a 10 or BGS or anything like that? Has there been anything along those lines?
Yeah, I mean, I know that there's been, subscribers that have done stuff like that. I can tell you, me personally, I've cracked over 100 slabs. So yeah, I mean, it's been tested any which way. I mean, I see it happen. We can't, like, I feel really confident and good about when somebody submits a card that's not in a penny sleeve, that's not in, a top loader or something like that. That's just a card sitting on specifically our grade board or a black surface, flat black surface. But that's what we like to use, the grade board, because sometimes my definition of flat black surface might be different than somebody else's.
That's true.
Yeah, so that's why we came up with the grade board, and I don't know if you can see it. It's got the little instructions there. It's got this box. So essentially what you do is you put the card inside of the box and then crop around the card so you can still see the whole card, but you don't see any of the white box or the white lines here that create that box.
Right.
So you have a very, very small black background that's all around the card. So one of the other things that I think is interesting, and I've personally had success with it, and it's up on our Instagram and it's on our website as well. So I have, from time to time, if I find a card that I want to buy on eBay, and if the person that's listed the card has it on a flat black background and they have good clean images, you can screenshot it and submit it through Cardboss. And I mean, I had a Mickey Mantle card that I bought raw for, it was like $550 or something like that. And I submitted it and Cardboss gave it a 6. But I knew if it got a 6, it was worth like $950. So I did just that, bought the card, I ended up winning the auction. I think it was like $565. Got a 6, and then I said from Cardboss, then I sent it into PSA. PSA gave it a 6, and I turned around and sold it for like $1,000 pretty much.
Oh, nice.
So, there's a lot of times where if you have a card that's on eBay that you really like, I'll ask, the person that's listed the card, I'll ask them, say, hey, if you wouldn't mind, would you, take a nice picture of the front and the back on a flat black background if they don't already have it listed that way. So that way I can run it through the app and see what it gets.
Has anybody used the app, let's say with the scanner, that they will have, let's say if they can scan the card in and I know on some of the softwares you could have, a white border or a black border, then could you do that and then import that into the app?
Yeah, so that's something that's also on the radar, being able to kind of integrate with cards that have been scanned like that. Right now, where we are is it's all device based, so it's going to be either on an iPad, an iPhone, or an Android, essentially, where you just take the images on your camera.
Right. So what I'm saying though is that if I went ahead and I scanned a card, right, and I downloaded it onto my phone, and I put it in my photos, and then I went into Cardboss and drug them in there, it could still go ahead so it could still go ahead and give me an accurate grade. So with a scanned card also.
Yep. Yeah, in that scenario, yes.
That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's definitely pretty cool.
Yeah. I'll hook you up when we're done. I'll get you get you access to Card Bus so you can start using it.
Very cool. Um, now outside of cardboard, some hobby talk and everything. So what are you? Are you a football guy, baseball guy, basketball guy, or just a card guy?
I would say 75% football and 25% basketball. So, personally, and that's a
Mhm.
lot of that's just, probably a result of that's what me and my boys are into together. Um,
Right.
growing up, it was, for me, it was football, basketball, baseball. I was into hockey a little bit, actually, which was I was the only kid that 30 years ago that was actually into hockey cards, but, um, and no, I don't have a Wayne Gretzky rookie card. But I wish I did. But anyway, so yeah, I would say it's very, very heavy into football. I mean, that's, we'll go on anytime I go to a card show, or go to one of the local shops here, or on a whatnot. It's, a break. It's typically football. Obviously, when big football fan, so the NFL kind of rules the world. So lots and lots of football. Whether it's, I collect vintage stuff. It's been interesting. Some of it's the that 1984 top set that has, the Dan Marino rookie and the John Elway rookie, and
Yeah.
those cards are impossible to find. That, just because the centering was such an issue
Hmm.
back then, specifically with that set. I bet you I've personally graded 50 different cards from that set trying to find something that was, a 9 or a 10. And it's just hard to do, because the centering is just, even if it's good on the front, it's bad on the back. It's tough. But yeah, I mean, it's a lot of football and vintage stuff, modern stuff, ultra modern stuff.
Yeah, a lot of that stuff, from tops back in that era was always, I mean, hard to go ahead and get around. You look at what in that same time frame, like the Ricky Henderson rookie. I mean, the tops rookie from him, that card is so hard to gem. I mean, that's why it goes for, stupid dollars, because of how hard it is, and
Hmm.
stuff, so it makes sense and everything. So what's cool, I mean, you got your boys and everything and stuff. So obviously they're probably more into the modern, and you're a mix, or have you brought them into the vintage part of that? Even though, I mean, it's funny with the hobby, technically, you know, a card from 2000, technically LeBron James's rookie card I think is considered, vintage.
Right.
It when you're in the ant when you're in when you're in that, what do you call that classification stuff of, vintage, antique, and all the other kind of stuff. A lot of card guys, when they think vintage, we're thinking 50s, Mickey Mantle, Willie, all that kind of stuff and everything. But
Yeah.
have your boys gotten into the older stuff because of you, or are they staying more towards the modern stuff?
I was chuckling at least a little bit when you asked that question. So the answer is no, they're not into the vintage stuff, but it's not due to lack of effort. Um, so I've tried to get them into it, but I feel like just the way they're wired, if they can't see the person play on TV on a Sunday, or have him on their fantasy football team, or have a heavy presence on social media or YouTube, then it's like, Dad can tell him all he wants about how great Dan Marino was, and they just don't. They just don't care.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, you're 100% correct. I mean, my son is 24, and I'd always been into, I mean, I've been into cards since, the mid 70s and stuff. And, it went in waves, like it did with most of, the guys, in our, bracket of age and everything, whether it was we started 70s, 80s, 90s, and then, you know, things happen. You go to high school, you go to college, you get some other stuff going in. So you kind of, like you kind of pay attention, but you don't pay attention, and then something happens, with me, with my son, I was like, man, I'm going to buy him some baseball cards and stuff like that. We're big, baseball guys. And, that kicked off and got him going and into everything, that he has done, with the hobby. And now, we've gone to what, 3 nationals, and stuff like that, and have had great times, and have made friends with a lot of the guys that are in the chat and everything. We've become, friends with them, through this hobby and stuff. So, but
Yeah.
my son is the same way as my son. Mine's older than your boys, but you can kind of see. I could tell him how, you don't understand, how great Wayne Gretzky was, how great, like Michael Jordan, a little different because he's still so talked about.
Yeah, he's relevant, his shoes, and
Yeah, but to your point, like, it's like from me, it's like, yeah, Mike, you don't understand. My favorite football team, the Jets, they passed on Dan Marino because they thought he wouldn't be able to go ahead and he'd be good. And look what happened, so it's you have that part to it, but it's definitely like I was never a Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon or anything like that. I'm never really into those type of cards. It was always just sports cards for me. But it's interesting how it is the same way with mine. Like he, you could, he'll watch basketball, he'll watch football, he'll watch baseball, and those are the guys. And it's like, well, you like this player, but you don't understand. You don't understand what Willie Mays was like. And not that I got to see Willie play a lot, or Ken Griffey Jr. You don't understand what Junior was like. You don't understand that if Junior didn't get hurt, he would not, he would be the guy that people are being compared to, not some of the other players that you're hearing about and stuff.
Oh yeah. Yeah. We were watching a game, this was probably been a month or two ago, and Troy Aikman was announcing it. And I just said in passing, 3-time Super Bowl champion and how fantastic Troy Aikman was. And both my boys were like, oh, he actually played? And I was like, yeah, he played a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but you're right though. I mean, that's what winds up happening, the young and I don't know. I mean, it's I think that the biggest change for me, obviously, and with a lot of people, is just the amount of money that is in the hobby now. I mean, when I started collecting, the truth is, you had packs for a quarter, you had packs for 50 cents, you had packs for like $1, you had the rack pack. Rack pack. Man, if you were buying rack packs, whew, man, you're spending big money. You're spending like $1.25, $1.40.
Yeah, that was on the Christmas. Rack packs were on the Christmas list.
Yeah.
That was big time stuff.
Yep. Well, that's why I find it funny. People they talk now, about, oh, you gotta be careful, searching packs and so on and so forth. And I was like, what are you guys talking about? When I first started, I mean, the packs were clear and the box was sitting there. And if you only had $2 to spend on cards, you would literally look at the front and the back card, because if you had them, you didn't want them unless they were, your favorite player, because you're like, hey, I'm only getting 15 cards. Why do I want 2 that I already have?
Yeah.
So the whole
it's not necessarily related to Card Boss, but just, the hobby in general. One of the things that, kind of worries me regarding, packs and boxes and things like that is, I don't know what the percentage is, but just knowing that people have the ability to X-ray these packs and X-ray these boxes so they can actually see what's in there.
Yeah.
I can say that I wanted to buy like a BBCE sealed box of 84 tops. Just that's kind of a set that I've, that was kind of my wheelhouse when I was a kid growing up.
Right.
So that's kind of near and dear to my heart. But it's stuff like that, and I'm sure BBC's not doing it. But you worry if you do pay a premium for one of these sealed boxes from whether it's new or vintage, is it going to be legit, or has somebody, done an X-ray to the box or the pack, and
Well,
it's
yeah,
just,
no, yeah, but you think about it, back then, the boxes were not shrink wrapped when they went to a store. So nothing says that you can't find a box of 84 and it's missing 4 or 5 packs, and you go out and you buy 4 or 5 packs and you put them in there and you close it and then you send it in to be certified, right?
No, it's funny that you say that, because at the National, I took time to go to the BBCE booth. They had 3 or 4 boxes of the 84 tops, and I was assuming that just because that box with the 36 packs in there was sealed doesn't necessarily mean that that's the original box with those original 36 packs and they just sealed it.
Right.
They could be packs pulled from anywhere.
Yeah.
So, which to me, card boss aside, I feel like, and I try to teach my kids this a little bit, just because it's, they can be more successful this way, at least financially, when they're, collecting cards, is the singles. If you have good cards that are good singles, those are things that you want to, you want to keep, you want to grade them, you want to make sure that they're, well taken care of, because buying boxes, for the 84 tops example, and I'm going to keep harping on that, but I mean, if you take a box of one of these vintage cards, it could even be something as benign as somebody bought a box or had a box that was brand new, got the 2 or 3 cards they wanted out of that box, but they were only halfway through the packs. Then they could just take those packs and put them with other packs, and now you got a box that's probably not going to be good because the better cards have already been pulled.
Yeah, and especially especially back then. I mean, I don't know how many people. I don't know how many people knew it back then. I think more people know it
Yeah,
now. But
right.
the correlation stuff also.
Yeah.
Like people always said, like if you were opening up 86 Fleer, right? If you were going to have a Michael Jordan, if I forgot what card it was like the 3rd or 4th card in the pack, you knew you were going to have a Jordan in it or something along those lines.
Yeah, I think like if you hit Herb Williams, if you could see Herb Williams as like the 2nd or 3rd card, you knew Jordan was next.
Yeah, from that standpoint. So I mean, a lot of people learn that, but I think the the people in 84 who were doing and looking for that type of stuff, or in 86, those were, that was a different group of people that, that were, that wasn't your normal, kids going out and everything. When you started collecting, when you started your journey in the hobby, when you were when you were just a youngster,
Mm-hmm.
did you look at value? Was value ever in your mind as you were looking at your cards and how you were keeping them?
For me, it was not where it is now, but I would say, kind of compared to my peers, I was more focused on the cards that were valuable, and not necessarily like, hey, this guy is my favorite player, but his cards aren't worth anything. Like, I still collected those cards, but I did tend to lean towards the players that had more value at the time, which, and I took really good care of my cards. I mean, I had buddies that were just, not that they did it like they did way back in the day and put them in their tire spokes or whatever that was, but I had buddies that would just throw them in a shoebox. Like, I made sure that I bought the boxes and at least put them in the box, and I had the penny sleeves and I had the top loaders. So yeah, there's actually, when COVID hit, it had been a while. And I had a bunch of good stuff, but then I also had a bunch of stuff that was like, I think I have like 30 Barry Bonds Topps rookie cards, which, I ran like 3 of the 30 through Card Boss that I thought would get a 10, and even those got a 9.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just some of that older stuff. And I think I looked on eBay to see what you could sell those cards for. It's like $1 a piece, essentially.
Yeah. It's because it's Barry, Yeah, see, I'm the opposite. I can honestly say that me and my friends, back in, the late 70s when we started, the value of a card, meant nothing. I mean, it really didn't. I never looked at, and it's funny, I wound up getting them graded and slabbed this past year. I have, two Walter Payton rookie cards, that I know that I pulled those out of packs. Now I knew who Walter Payton was and everything, but I didn't even thought of a card as uh,
like an asset,
or an investment or anything like that. To me,
yeah.
I was just a kid and everything, and stuff like that, and it was even like I would tell people, when we traded, it wasn't about value. It was like I would open up a pack of cards, and if there were, I mean, it was easy to know what you had because it was, we only had, tops. So when you opened them up, you kind of, we would know what we had, and I would give my buddy, hey, Sean, here you go. I already have these 5. And you go, oh, Michael, I already have these 4. Go ahead and look at them. Oh, yeah. Hey, you know what? I need these 3. Okay. And you would say, oh, I need these 2. Okay, here you go. And that was it. Who it was didn't matter. We were kind of, building sets or,
I was doing that as well. I mean, and the other thing that I can say is I knew at the time, like if a card was bent or had a rough corner, like I knew that was bad, but like the centering didn't factor into the equation at all.
Right.
I mean, so there were times where I would still just trade the cards, like if there was a player that I wanted, and I never even considered the centering. Just didn't. It just wasn't on my radar at the time. So curious question for you is: when you send cards to be graded, do you use SGC, Beckett, PSA, a combination of the 3?
Combination. SGC, and some PSA. I'm more of an SGC guy than a PSA guy. I like that slab. I like the way the cards look in it and stuff like that. I think certain cards, when you have certain colors, like if you pull an orange or you pull a yellow, that yellow, that yellow refractor or that yellow reflective or something along those lines, with the black border and everything. I mean, I just like the,
Yeah, pop looks good. Yeah.
Yeah, I like the look and everything. For the life of me, can't understand why a 10 is not a 10 is not a 10, no matter what the slab is, and that they're looked at the same. Why a PSA 10 commands more than a Beckett 10, than more than an SGC 10. I mean, I just don't understand it.
Yeah.
Because I don't, like, if it's a 10 and, what's the difference? Like, why is the PSA go for 100, but the SGC might be $75? I mean, it's like, and no one could really explain it. And they're like, it's more, but it's all because, PSA was, is the godfather of it. And they're like, even though it's like, well, wait a minute, Beckett, but that's okay. You believe in PSA, fine. But it's one of those, again, it's one of those things along those lines that I just, it's one part that I don't understand. It just drives me a little on the bonkers side.
Yeah, I mean, for me, if it's a super high value card, I guess super high value by my standards. If it's a higher end card, I'll typically send it to PSA just because I know that that's going to demand the most value after I get the card back. But if it's something that's $50, $100, $200, I'll send it to SGC.
Yeah,
just it's quicker, it's easier, it's more affordable.
Yep.
One of the things I don't have much. I mean, the only experience I really have with Beckett is cracking their slabs and comparing it to Card Boss. But for me, it's I don't. SGC is probably the one that I end up doing the most of, just because I think, sort of to your point, I really do I like the tuxedo look, the slab they have. the Beckett slab, you know, I don't think it really demands that much more value than SGC for the most part. So yeah, I mean, I haven't set much into Beckett at all. I probably should just to have some in my collection, but I think I have like 3 or 4 cards that are Beckett.
Yeah, I've bought a few cards already slabbed in a Beckett, but I haven't submitted, with them.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to also look at it from a standpoint of, if I'm going to do it, I want to send, like, I'm not doing 1 or 2 cards.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm going to send it in to whoever, it's got to be, hopefully in that 10 card range, 8 to 10 cards, right? Because, send 1. I mean, that doesn't, why?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to me.
I think part of that's kind of where Card Boss would come into the equation, because I mean, I don't know what your specific reasons are, or if you've thought about why you only want to send 1 or 2 in, but I'm like that too. Part of it for me is like, if I'm going to actually like designate the time to create this submission,
right?
It's not that much difference in time whether I, if I'm going to send 1 in or 4 in. You know what I mean? It's like I'm already there. I'm already doing it.
Yeah.
That's why, for Card Boss, it's good, because if you have 20 cards that you want to get, potentially graded, and you flip it through, then, maybe there's 10 of the 20 get the grade you want.
Right.
And you send them in. But yeah, I mean, I've sent 1 card in on its own 1 time. And again, it was just that Tony Gwynn, because I really did that because I was positive it was going to be a 10, even though it wasn't. And I wanted to get it back, quickly, but,
well, yeah, and that makes sense. I mean, that, yeah. I mean, if you pull something and you go, like if you pull the 1 of 1 of, the hot rookie, it pays to go ahead and, hey, get that 1 in and, and looked at and stuff, from that standpoint.
One of the things that I always, it's confusing. I mean, I kind of get it, but I kind of don't, is, you have some of this, PSA, for example, if you send a card in that's worth $50, they may charge you, depending on what their current promotion is at the time, $20 or $30 to get that card graded. But if you have something that's super, super high end, they'll charge you $1,100 or $1,200 to grade the card, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And to me, it's like, hey, every single card should get the exact same level of scrutiny and attention, and it shouldn't matter whether the card's worth $20 or $20,000.
Right.
Grade should be the same. It shouldn't take you any longer, because you should be going through the same steps in the same process. Whether the card's worth $100 or $100,000.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I would hope that they look. I would hope that that my PC card. I'm a Fred Lynn guy. He's my favorite baseball player. And I will get some of his stuff graded, but more just to slab because I want to protect it, because I'm saying it's more along those lines, right? Like when I went to the National and he was there, and I got to meet him, say hello, talk to him, and have him sign one of the cards. That was a card that I had literally probably about 2 hours before that pulled out of a dollar bin, and I was like, oh my gosh, I really I had another card, but I got that one, and it wound up grading like, I don't know, a 7 or an 8, but I didn't care, because I was, it was because it was that card and everything. But I would hope that card would get the same scrutiny as a Victor Wembanyama 1 of 1, in my opinion. Oh, Sean is frozen. Or we lost him. Oh no, Sean. Oh. Hopefully he can come back. So guys, one quick thing. If you remember, I said we had some. told you we had some breaking news. And for those of you that are still here, at 4 o'clock this morning, I became a grandfather. My daughter had a little baby girl, Emerson Kate. That's why I'm in Huntsville. We went and met her. My wife and I met her today, and we're looking forward to being grandparents. Thank you, Craig. Much appreciated. That was the breaking news. I told you if you watched the video. Thank you, Dami. Thank you, Craig. So, thanks, Blaze. How you doing, buddy? Appreciate it. Yep. So, yeah, my wife and I are here for that, and we're just, just pretty cool. Pretty cool. Great Christmas. Yes, Craig, I've been using it, and I'm in. Not sure what your scheduling looks like, but I wanted to try and maybe do another little video chat or something with you because I did have some questions and stuff like that. So maybe we could go ahead and try and link up our schedules, and if it has to be after the new year, that's fine. Or if we can figure out sometime next week, maybe that would be awesome. Because I did have some stuff, some questions and everything. But yeah, so guys, I hope yeah, I agree. Yep. Yeah, I think definitely want to talk. I definitely like it. But hey, guys, like I said, I hope Card Boss, very, very interesting. It is definitely it definitely looked. I mean, I could see using it at a card show. I can definitely see, going that method and using it at a card show to get an idea. I, don't necessarily. I mean, not 100% sure on. I just finally collected the big. Wow, you got the box. Very nice. Way to go. Merry Christmas to you for sure. That is awesome, man. I don't have any of the 83. Oh, he's back.
Hey, sorry, my phone pulled one of those moves where it went from 20% to dead. So I don't know if you saw me. I was walking over to grab the
charger.
cord. Yeah, and then of course it takes 2 minutes to get turned back on. So I apologize.
No worries, and everything. I was just letting everybody know that one of the reason that I'm in Huntsville and not at home is because at 4 o'clock this morning, my wife and I became grandparents for the first time.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So
Very
we are
cool.
here. Yeah. So we are we are here for that and everything.
How long are you gonna stay?
A few days. My wife is going to stay a little longer to go ahead and help, new mom when she gets home. It's amazing. She's a pharmacist. My son-in-law is a pharmacist, and they are like, there are certain things and freaking out when it comes to handling a little baby. They're like, oh my goodness, what do I do?
Right. Yeah. It's kind of one of those things. Like I gotta take care of this thing now.
Yeah.
But they'll figure it out. But it's nice that your wife's helping. My wife and I had a similar situation with my mother-in-law. It was super helpful.
Yeah. Hold on. I have to do something for my wife here. Okay. 2 exclamation. Show it. Yeah. There you go. Sorry. Yep. Not going to be Papa. Not going to be Papa. Probably going to be Baba. That's what
Nice.
my kids called my dad and stuff.
Is it a boy or girl?
A girl. Her name is an Emerson Kate.
Awesome. Good for
Yeah.
you. That's
Thank
sweet.
you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Blaze was saying that he recently he got the big three. He was going for the Boggs, the Gwynn, the Sandberg. He got Topps, Donruss, and Fleer.
Ooh.
So that's pretty good.
That's really good.
Yep. Hey, you know what? The perfect condition, you work your way up, man. You work your way up. That's what that's what a lot of guys do. That's what I've done in the past, It's a little bit of older card and everything. Try and find one and, because because you want one, and then you see if you could, somehow work your way up a little bit to, to something a little better and everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm always trying to do that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. So, well, hey, I don't want to keep you any longer. I kept you for a lot longer than I thought I was too. I apologize for that, but
this has been great. Thank you.
Well, yeah, one of those things, like I said, with this show, the longest we've ever wanted to go, we've always tried, and sometimes, a lot of times, keep it to maybe close to an hour. And to be honest with you, I've never made that number. I've had them shorter, and I've had them a lot longer. It's just, with the way the conversation over starts going, next thing you know, and you look, like my son doesn't really like to go on, he had a cover for me one week and everything, and I was able to get on. And I was like, so how was it? He goes, it's unbelievable. You sit there, you start talking, you don't know what you're going to talk about. He goes, because he didn't know, he was just going to talk.
Yeah.
And the guys in the chat were helping him and everything. And he goes, the next thing I know, I look, and I've been on for like 50 minutes. And I'm like, yeah, it goes by quick once you start chatting.
Yeah. Yeah. No, this has definitely gone quick. I didn't look at the time, and when I did, it was like 10:38. I was like, oh wow, we've been on for like 40 minutes already.
Yeah. So everybody in the chat. So all the information is down below in the description, the website, the IG. There's a whole bunch of links down there. So go ahead, check it out, give it a look. Sean, I appreciate you going ahead and coming out and spending time with me. And everybody, thanks a lot for being in the chat. Much appreciated. And man, episode number 104, which means that's right around our 2-year anniversary of doing this show is next week. So looking forward to it. Thanks a lot, everybody. Catch you guys at the next one.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
You got it.
All right, bye-bye.